Welcome back to another video. Today we're here at Fairview Park in Staten Island to look at something new and exciting. And today that new and exciting thing is another FPV backpack. Not completely new, this is just the latest version of one of the most infamous bags in FPV, the Torvol Pitstop Pro V2 in that gorgeous yellow and black colorway. Don't have my name tag yet, but hey, it's coming. Today, I want to go through and compare the Torvol Pitstop Pro V2 and the iFlight, which has been my main daily driver bag since, let's say, early 2021. So it's been about 2 years, and I want to give you a little insight on how the iFlight bag has held up, what I loved about it, what I didn't like about it, and what I'm kind of excited about with the Torvol. I've only had about 2 weeks with it, so it really isn't enough time for me to do a full review. That will probably come in the next 3 to 6 months once I've really spent time daily driving the Torvol. There are certain things that you can only find out about a bag after you've been really using it as your everyday bag for a few months, so you can find out the quirks, the ins, the outs, and what makes it good or bad. And I'm gonna say this before we start, these two bags are extremely similar, and nothing illustrates that more than the pocket design. Before I dive into it, I just want to show you this little piece of material that comes with the Torvol bag. I really like it. It shows basically roughly what the capacity is, and it gives you kind of like a tour of the bag using this little like paper cutout thing. And I think this is a super neat little like add-in extra that you don't have to do as a bag manufacturer, but I really do appreciate. Before we open these bags up and I show you the pocket that is the most clearly similar, the most clear similarity to each other, let's look at the outside of the bags. So both of them have the same little loops on both sides and little pockets. On the Torvol, it's mesh. On the iFlight, it's a more solid material. On the front here, you do have a nice kind of protective, hard, I guess, foam, and then you have 3 straps for quads. On the Torvol, you have this nice like ripstop nylon, and then these little bungee loops for your quads. There's only 2 on there currently, but I think in response to iFlight and Joshua Bardwell's desire to have a 3rd strap, there is the option to add a 3rd little loop set for a 3rd quad on the back. And again, same on this side setup. Both have a similar pocket up top. If you open this one up, you'll see that it has this little zip pocket on the inside, and then fabric back here to keep your camera lenses safe and sound. And then on the iFlight bag, come over here, open it up. Hey, look, it looks almost identical. The only difference is the zip pocket is moved to the inside here. I actually like this design better. So that way you have the flat portion that the camera rests on down. So when you're laying the backpack down, it doesn't slide out as easily, and it doesn't slide across things like the zipper, scratching up your lens or the screen. Slightly better design, but honestly, both are pretty identical. And again, same on this side. On the back, we have a laptop pocket on both that easily fits a 17-inch laptop. And you also have this little tablet pocket here. Both tablet pockets fit an 8-inch tablet or so across. They won't fit an iPad Pro in the tablet pocket, but hey, if you're bringing a laptop and a tablet that size, I think you're going a little ham. Either that or you're going on vacation and then pack what you need. On the back, we have these foam padded straps, same on both. I'm gonna say right now, even though they look really similar, the thickness and the density of the foam padding on the Torvol is a lot nicer. And same goes with the back padding. This is kind of new for this design. They've put a split down the middle, something the iFlight does not have. So far, this is a lot more comfortable to wear every day or carry around. It feels a whole lot lighter on your back, and also your back breathes a whole lot better. So if you're a sweaty person like me, the Torvol Pitstop Pro V2 definitely fixes a lot of the issues I had with just feeling sweaty and gross and horrible. Both down at the bottom have the standard hip straps, whatever you want to call it. And then here's another piece. This is where I really think it's clear that Torvol is a bag designer and iFlight made an FPV backpack as a quad maker. If you look at the actual strap quality itself, you'll see that the stitching is extremely well done. You've got box stitches everywhere, where here you don't have that same attention to detail when it comes to the actual, see, look, here's the little box stitch right there, and on the iFlight you don't have it. So the actual stitch quality itself is both great, but the design of the stitches on the Torvol bag make it clear that they're really concerned about durability of the backpack. And you'll also see stuff like here, the adjustment for the chest piece, or chest piece. You also see here the design for the chest strap is a little bit nicer than over here, where it's just a little piece of fabric that's part of the actual strap adjustment down here for your back strap. Now that we got these bags laying down, I want to touch on the bottom real quick. So on the Torvol, you have a little pocket here at the back, which contains a rain fly for the backpack. Great little addition, because say you're out at a flying spot, starts to rain and you need to get back to your car, or you have your quads in your car, in your backpack when you get home and it's raining outside. Here, you have a little rain cover that you pull up over top and your quads are safe. The number of times I've left my quads and backpack in the car because it was raining outside is shockingly more than like 5 or 10 times. And having that rain fly as an additional little feature is a great piece of built-in kit. It is a downside, it adds weight, and you don't always need it, but it's great when it's there. Nate from the future, while I was cleaning out the bag, I noticed that there's this little zip pocket on the bottom of the iFlight that I didn't realize was there. I said before that the Torvol had the rainfly in it. It is nicely attached, but here you do have a rainfly as well, tucked into this little pocket. I never knew it existed. It turns out it had it all along. You'll also notice it's a little bit more rounded. It's not as squared off, where compared to the iFlight, you have these little feet down here and it is completely flat. This bag generally does sit pretty flat on the ground. The Torvol is a little harder to get to stand up on its back end. While not generally a problem, it is nice when you have a quad on this very bottom strap. It's more safe on the iFlight because it sits up higher and it doesn't tend to lean forward onto the quad itself than it does with the Torvol. Again, don't know how big of a deal that's going to be. Over time, I think I'm going to figure out whether or not I actually care about the difference between the two there. The only downside here on the iFlight is that these are a little bit sharp, so you can't really put them down, I'm going to call it talons first, onto a leather car seat, because it can damage materials that it's set onto. So you have to be a little bit more cognizant what you set the iFlight down on. So now let's open these side pockets. And this is where it is so clear that iFlight used a Torvol Pitstop Pro as their reference design for their backpack. Because here on the Torvol, even though this is the V2, the V1 is very, very, very similar to this. You've got a little zip or Velcro pocket here at the top. You have a little mesh zipper pocket at the bottom, and 2 of these little plastic protected pockets on the side. Other than that, there's no real pockets in here. And then you have the dual zipper here. On the iFlight, you have the same little Velcro top pocket. You have the same little zippered mesh pocket. You do have the addition of a power cable input-output there. So you can run the LED light strips that are on the iFlight bag into the main little control panel that's at the bottom. And then once again, you have these 2 little zippered plastic reinforced pouches on the side and 2 little zips on the outside. I think that pocket right there shows that Torvol really did create a fantastic design, and iFlight did reference that design in making this bag. Just looking at the 2 laying here, they look very, very similar. And if you were to ask somebody from the general public if these were from the same brand or one copied the other, I think the general consensus would be yes. I don't think it was quite as nefarious, but then again, I think iFlight made some good substantive changes to the design, so I'm gonna give them benefit of the doubt. That said, it's always nice to feel like you're supporting the original, and I do very much so far like my time with the Torvol. Now let's get to the biggest difference between these 2 bags, and that is how they are structured on the inside. On the iFlight, you flip it open, and you see you've got little pouches here on the outside, and then a dividable interior layout. Right now I threw my tiny whoop stuff in here just to have something in this backpack. And also you'll see here that I had to add these little race day quad pull tabs, because there's nothing on these originally. They're just big zippers. They're nice zippers, but just big zippers. Here on the Torvol, you have your standard YKK zipper, and it is a beautiful zipper, and it has loops to put your fingers in. And if you haven't figured out already, I very much like the fact that that's included. You'll also notice that I zipped it the other way around, because that is the biggest physical difference between these two bags. The iFlight opens down, the Torvol opens up. Because the Torvol bag opens up, you've got this nice little portable work surface right here. You'll see this flips down. You've got space for more storage. In here, you have a little piece that you can fold out so you can kneel on something while you're working on your quad on this piece right here. And then up here at the top, underneath this, you have a little magnetic pad. So you can throw your screws in there so that you don't lose them in the grass. The number of times I've lost prop nuts while working on a quad in the grass, I honestly think I might end up using that more than I think, but that right there is the biggest difference. The advantage to the way the iFlight opens, just so we don't ignore it completely, is that if you are standing the bag up on the bottom, zip it up, stand it up, is you can open up this top and have access to your transmitter. So if you're trying to do a rip and dip and you have your quad with your battery already on the outside and you already have your goggles out, you can basically just unzip this, grab your transmitter out, and you're good to fly. On the Torvol, to get to the transmitter, you basically have to open the bag all the way up to get access to that top compartment. Is it a big deal? For me, not really. I don't do a ton of rip and dip, so I don't need fast access to my transmitter, but I definitely could see where somebody might prefer the bag to open down with the transmitter accessed first, compared to the Torvol, where the bag has to basically be completely opened to get access to all the bits on the inside. While both bags retail for effectively the same price, the Torvol being $199 US, the iFlight being $199 US, there is a difference in the actual price, because with the iFlight, they do include this full send lipo guard bag. You'll see that from the past 2 years, it's actually held up surprisingly well. It is a fairly thin material, so I don't know that it's really going to provide a ton of protection for your actual batteries, but I do like that it's included in there. It fits nicely into the bag. It's a smooth exterior finish, so it slides in and out very easily, and it is a nice inclusion. So at 200 bucks, you do get a lipo bag in there as well. When you look at the Torvol bag, it does have a nice pocket down here for your batteries, but unfortunately, the battery bag is sold separately. So it is a nice battery bag. It is very thick material, so it probably adds a little bit of protection over the iFlight. It does not come included with the bag and is an extra 30 bucks. So if you want to compare apples to apples, the Torvol really does come in at $230 compared to the iFlight's $200. Before we conclude this video, I just want to take a quick look at my iFlight backpack. After 2 years, this thing has held up actually shockingly well. You will just see some standard signs of wear and tear around the bag, but all the straps are still solidly in place. All the zippers move freely. Everything looks overall in great shape. This thing has been around the world. It's had sunscreen on it. It's seen all sorts of adventures. I think this might actually be Aruba beach sand. Not 100% sure, but overall, I definitely think this bag has held up surprisingly well. I really couldn't have asked for much more. The only thing that really has shown any signs of true wear are the Velcro on the inside. The interior little dividers are just starting to loosen up a tad bit, but that is, again, to be expected of any Velcro. And that basically is it. That's a first look at the Torvol V2, Pitstop Pro V2, and a kind of wrap-up summary video of the iFlight backpack. The iFlight backpack is going to get passed on to a friend so he can keep using it. Again, it held up incredibly well. So in my first initial impression, which bag would I pick? Would I go with the V2 or the iFlight bag? For me right now, I actually would go with the Pitstop Pro V2, primarily because the back padding feels so much better. I tend to generally run a little bit warm, so having that ventilation up and down so far has been a pretty big benefit. The other little quirks of the backpack, again, I want to get used to it first before I make a true distinction between the two. The iFlight bag held up really well. If I didn't like to try new things, I definitely would have just picked up a newer iFlight backpack if I wanted to just have something new. With all that said, if you want some kind of conclusion to draw from it, I would recommend either backpack. If you want a complete solution for 200 bucks, go with the iFlight. It's durable, it is high quality, it is a great made backpack. If you do a lot of hiking, if you do a lot of longer walks to get to the spot, or you just like Torvol better as a brand, that Torvol V2 backpack is a pretty big improvement on the Torvol V1 Pitstop Pro. It's definitely better if you do a lot of hiking because of that ventilation. Overall, I think both are fantastic backpacks and you can't really go wrong. If you are looking to spend a little bit less money, the iFlight does have the advantage of being a complete package at that $200 mark. I have seen it go on sale for less. The Torvol, you do have to spend that extra $30 if you want that battery bag, but if you already have a battery bag, or you just don't like to run a battery bag, because I mean, they don't really prevent battery fires. It's perfectly fine not to run a battery bag, because while they do buy you a little more time if a battery is to catch on fire, it doesn't buy you a ton of time. That's really it. They're two great FPV backpacks. If you want something dedicated, there are a bunch of different brands that have great FPV backpacks. For me personally, I really liked that iFlight bag. That's why I chose it as my first real dedicated FPV backpack. And then after that, I wanted to try something a little different, and I figured why not give the GOAT a try when they came out with the V2 version of the Torvol. Thank you for joining me in this video. As always, links are down below in the description to all the stuff that I've talked about in this video and the stuff that I use to make these videos. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel. It helps me grow, all that fun stuff, and leave me a comment. Let me know, do you have a favorite backpack in FPV? Have you used the Torvol V2? Did you fly the original Torvol? Have you flown the iFlight? Let me know your opinions on FPV specific backpacks, or if you have a backpack that's not specifically FPV. For years I used not for years, before I got my first FPV specific backpack, I used a North Face backpack and that worked perfectly fine. But there is some real good usability functions that come from a dedicated bag to FPV. Thank you all for joining me on this video. I will definitely catch you in the next one. See ya. Peace. Bye.